Good morning, everybody. This is Dr. Lisa coming to you from Tampa, Florida as a triple board certified physician in internal medicine, bariatrics, and integrative medicine. And I have been coming to you daily for the past 6 or so weeks, sharing my take and opinion on what's going on with this pandemic and with the global issues that are happening and unfortunately really in our face right now. And I listened to a pretty incredible podcast yesterday, and I wanted to share that with you. You guys can check it out. It's Dr. Peter Attia, ATTIA. He's got a podcast called The Drive. And what he did that really rang home to me is he kind of compared some ideas on what we can do to be proactive, because we're all feeling a bit helpless right now with regards to the racial issues that are going on. We want to reach out. We're trying to reach out, at least I am, to my Black friends and colleagues, and trying to stand strong with them. But we don't know what is the best way to go. And what he mentioned that put it all into some clarity, I thought was really interesting. And how he described it was going through different types of mistakes that can happen. So this was a conversation based on how can we be proactive, what needs to happen in our justice system, in the police force, or frankly in any walk of life, to make sure that we're being led by the heart and not by, like what we talked about yesterday, which is people who don't know how to transmute their own negative emotions into a higher frequency, so they transmit it to others. And what he said is that there are 3 main types of mistakes that anybody can make. So the first one is technical, and he did bring it back to physicians. And I thought that was an interesting thing to think about because it's easy to understand for most people. So if you think about a surgeon or anybody doing a procedure as a doctor, you can have a technical mistake, and especially in residency, we all did that. We tied something wrong, or we maybe cut a little bit too much, and that's where we're learning. And those are scary. They're mistakes that are scary and can be harmful to the patient. But if we admit it and we learn, we are able to go on and become doctors and practicing doctors. So that technical mistake that can occur in any walk of life, so whatever your job is, career, anything that you can think of, but in the police force, you're learning how to carry your gun correctly and it slips or something like that. That's a technical mistake. We can learn as long as we own it and we don't continue to make it. So making sure that if you do make a mistake in your own walk of life, but this is also what we're trying to apply to potentially screening police officers with this idea, is that if you make mistakes repetitively, you're not going to able to be successful. So if a doctor continues to, clip things incorrectly on the procedure, that is not gonna, they're not gonna be able, maybe they don't have the technical skills to maintain being an active physician. The second potential mistake that we can, and I don't know if mistake is the right word, but the second potential thing that we have to deal with are decisions based on judgment. And we day-to-day as doctors, so in my day-to-day life, I'm seeing people that are coming in with different issues and I'm making a judgment call. That is what I do. I live in that space of weighing out risk and benefit profiles, talking to the patient, trying to decide, and making a judgment call of the plan of action. So again, if your judgment is off, you can still learn if you make a decision that's incorrect. Like let's say I put on a blood pressure medicine for a patient and they react to it, or their pressure goes down really low because maybe the day they were in and it looked high, they were just stressed. Okay, well that was a judgment call that I made. Yes, it could be that it was wrong, but if I own it, hey, speak to the patient, look, maybe we were off, let's switch this drug, or let's stop it for now and see and track. That's all good. It's fine. It's learning experiences. And I want you guys, as I'm mentioning this, so technical and judgment in your own lives and your own careers, in let's say as a teacher, right? You make a technical mistake with something that you're doing with a kid and you cut, I don't know, you're teaching art and you cut things up wrong and you end up ruining the one of the pieces of supplies that you have at your school. Okay, well that's a mistake. You speak about it. And you're not going to make the mistake again. If there is a judgment with a child and you suggest something, but that turns out later to have not been the right thing, well, you speak openly, you talk to the parents, you talk to the child. Let's try something else. Let's redirect. So these can be moving parts that are proactive, and they're what we're all about in life, right? Learning, evolving. But the third and final thing that we're going to talk about is something he calls, and again, this is Peter Attia. I got this off of his podcast, and I'm just bringing my own thoughts to it as well. He calls normative mistakes and normative errors. What does that mean? Because I had not ever really heard that word before. And what it means is errors of character. So when we look at the awful police brutality that has occurred, that is clearly someone who that wasn't his first error of character, right? So this person, how did he get through the ranks and be working for so long as a police officer with such deep character-related issues that we know that he has? So how can we as a society and humanity and in our jobs and in our friendships and in our family be on the lookout for some of these normative things? So what he mentioned in regards to doctors is that, there have been lots of cases where extreme ones, disorders of character with abuse, where you have a patient who's trusting you and the doctors are taking advantage of that, which is an extreme level of abuse, an extreme character flaw, and that person needs to be arrested, not just removed from the field of medicine. But there are much lower level ones that kind of sneak in, like you're working in the ER and the patient comes in and you forgot to ask about their allergies, and then they react to something that you gave them, okay? And then you go back nervously and change the chart to act like you did ask the patient, but they didn't admit it, okay? So this is a normative character judgment problem. And we need to find a way as humanity to identify these initial character decision-making normative problems, because those baby steps that the patient doesn't get harmed, they were able to get the Benadryl and they did fine, and maybe you covered up something else in the chart. Like this has happened, and it happens in all careers. It's not just medicine. It's just that's the easiest one for me to talk about because I've experienced it with colleagues and watching, and obviously a lot of my own in judgment in the judgment and technical categories. So we need to open the conversation, and I would love to hear from all of you guys as to what do you think we should be doing to be tracking and testing. Is there a way to test for these character flaws? And maybe somebody's going to come up with that. So like in the police force, there is no room at all. It's zero room for character flaw, for normative decision-making problems based on a character issue. In medicine, there's really little to no room for that as well. So that was what I wanted to bring up, these three categories. I thought they were very, very interesting. And they also flow into what I've been talking a lot about, which is the fact that we are in a place right now where the planet is ascending. We're getting into a higher frequency, and humanity has been forced to shift whether we like it or not. And when we shift, and we're moving again from a carbon-based physical body into more of an energy body to keep up with with what's going on with the earth, we have to dig out the depths. We have to clean out the trash, the deep stuff that's holding us down. And as we clean out the trash, which is fear, judgment, grief, guilt, all of these emotions that we've all been dealing with during this pandemic and having the time to sit and be with ourselves, then guess what? In conditions of when we have to make a decision based on judgment, like the doctor sitting with the patient, or like the police officer trying to decide should they go after this person or not, their judgment is more clear because it's not clouded by all of these prior emotions. So when you are going inside, working on your stuff, releasing, letting go, you're clearing so that you are going to have better judgment. You're going to be practicing so you'll have better technique. And then your character is just going to get better and better as well. So thank you guys for joining. I hope that was an interesting little review and maybe give you some ideas on how we can be proactive, how we can reach out to legislators, to our local police force, maybe with ideas. We can keep a conversation going. And I will end with an affirmation as always for you today. And the affirmation for today is that I embrace my mistakes, always willing to learn and evolve. I embrace my mistakes, always willing to learn and evolve. Life is about learning, life is about evolving, life is about trying things, trying new things. So get out there, do something new and exciting, do something that will help you release and transmute any negative emotions so that you do not transmit them to others. Bye for now, have a great day, and I will see you guys here tomorrow. Thanks for watching.